Welcome to the MCTV Weekly News Update. I'm Peter Malavenda.
And I'm Jess Smith. We have a lot in store for you this week, so let's jump right into today's top story. Get your bomb shelters ready, kids. There's threat of nuclear arms in North and South Korea yet again. Reliving the dangers of the 1960s, North Korea and its leaders are in the stages of breaking through to more advanced technologies while they are developing their nuclear program. This increase in progress is causing a lot of concern for the South Korean leaders, and many are breaking the decades-old taboo by calling for South Korea to develop its own nuclear armory. Last month, North Korea had the third underground nuclear test since 2006. This is causing a lot of South Koreans to call for the increase of their own nukes. Two recent opinion polls showed that 2/3 of the population of South Koreans supported this movement. In recent threats, the North has been calling for a, quote, final destruction of Seoul. This came as quite a shock to the people of the South who thought that America would be the North's main target. North Korea is said to have developed and launched a long-range rocket and a nuclear detonation device that could be small enough to fit at the top of a rocket. In addition to the threat of nuclear war, the South is also fearing the loss of the United States as a protective force. So what do you think about that, Peter?
I think that's really scary. You know, North and South Korea really have to be on their guard about what's going on. And unfortunately, there's nothing we could do about it right now, but hopefully other nations will watch out and see what North Korea is up to.
I agree with that.
Well, if that story didn't scare you enough, here's one that might. More than 900 dead pigs were picked up from Shanghai's Hongpu River as of mid-afternoon on March 9th, said local authorities. The dead pigs were spotted in the Songjae section, the upstream of the Hongpu River and drinking water source for Shanghai residents, according to the city's Water Supplies Bureau. A resident said, quote, the dead pigs can be seen every day and every year, and that number is much greater than those in previous years. Shanghai's Songjae Environmental Protection Bureau said they have carried out daily patrol on river to pick up any bodies they find. The director of the Bureau, Zhu Rong, said, quote, we pick up dead pigs from the morning to night. We cannot do it at night for safety concerns, so we usually begin at 6:30 to the dark. Zhu said the dead pigs do not wear the ear tags of Songjae. The Bureau said the water quality has not been affected. However, to ensure tap water safety, local environmental protection and water supply authorities have beefed up quality examinations and the water intakes, as well as the whole water disinfection process. The Shanghai Agriculture Committee have carried out biosafety treatment on the dead pigs. It is investigating where the dead pigs may have come from. The committee said so far it has not received reports of animal epidemic outbreaks in the city. What would you do if you saw 900 dead pigs floating in the Hudson River?
I couldn't even imagine. I think that all the students from Marist would just take out their Instagram and start taking some
pictures,
shots.
Right?
Yeah,
they probably
it'd be
would.
crazy.
That's scary.
Definitely. While China wades through muddy waters, some American homes are falling into waters of their own. They've started tearing down the homes of the Massachusetts island that have been seriously damaged by this week's storm. Some of them started falling into the ocean. Amelia Barita has more.
Plum Island's once beautiful beach is now a zone of utter destruction. The awful scene of damaged and condemned homes being smashed to pieces, reinforcing the loss of the battle against the ocean. Littering the beach are the giant sandbags and concrete blocks that ultimately proved useless in stopping the Atlantic.
We have 3-ton concrete blocks that it rolls around in the surf like it's nothing. Years ago we had a barge up on shore that had 3/4-inch plate steel hull, and the waves shredded it like it was tinfoil.
This is a day that we never thought would come.
Senator Bruce Tarr says the controversy over whether more could have been done to save the homes will be a never-ending one.
When you see homes falling into the ocean, clearly you feel that not enough was done and that we should have done more. This isn't a situation where we've done nothing. It's a situation where the totality of everything we've done hasn't been enough to protect these homes in this storm.
Plum Island is a barrier beach that once had dunes and a wide expanse of sand. Officials say barrier beaches are fragile with migrating sand that often cannot hold up to years of pounding storms.
We have maps going back 100 years showing, that this comes and goes. The disconcerting portion right now is this has come a little further than it has in the past.
So it's a dynamic situation, and when these folks built these homes, there was plenty of beach out in front of them and it looked like a secure area. But what this storm in particular is teaching us is that can change very quickly.
Hopefully bringing us better news about this coming week's weather, let's head over to Dave Akin with this week's Highs and Lows report.
Thanks, Peter. This past week we saw a bit of snow as snowstorm Saturn hit the Northeast. Before coming here, Saturn took detours in Pennsylvania, D.C., and Virginia. More than 1,000 flights were grounded and canceled due to the weather. Many people also saw power outages as an effect of the storm. And if we weren't sick enough of this horrid weather changes, snowstorm Triton is moving across the Great Lakes and headed towards our neck of the woods. Michigan and Wisconsin are expected to get a bit of snow, but nothing too detrimental. The good news for us is that forecasters have predicted that from this point on, Triton will be mostly rain. Now let's see what the rest of the week has in store for us. Tonight, the temperature will drop to a brisk 33 degrees with clearing skies overnight as the cold front associated with today's rains forces its way through. Tomorrow, we will see partly cloudy skies with only a 10% chance of rain, so think carefully about putting your umbrellas away. The high of the day will be 49 degrees and winds will be out of the west at 10 miles per hour. Clouds will remain overnight as temperatures dive into the low 30s. Thursday, the high will be 38 degrees with clouds building throughout the day as a weak system makes its way through. Winds will be out of the northwest at a steady 15 miles per hour. On Thursday night, winds will drop down to 10 miles per hour and skies will clear off, leading to a significant drop in temperature. The low for the evening will be about 25, but it will feel as if we're in the teens with the wind chill. However, things will begin to warm up as we head into the weekend. Friday will be partly cloudy with highs in the low to middle 40s, and evening temperatures barely staying in the 30s. Saturday remains partly cloudy with a chance of rain and daytime temperatures hitting 44. Clouds will clear off in the evening as temperatures drop to the upper 20s. Sunday, St. Patrick's Day, clouds will return during the day as we again hit the mid-40s. Evening temperatures will drop into the low 30s as the clouds clear off again. Monday, we begin to trend upward again as the daytime temperatures hit 47 degrees. Clouds build in that night as the next weather system begins to spin into play. However, it will help prevent temperatures from dropping below the mid-30s that evening. And finally, Tuesday will bring the possibility of more nasty weather. A 40% chance of snow or rain is possible. Temperature-wise, Tuesday is looking to be in the mid-40s with a nighttime low of 29. That's all I have for this week. With your weekly highs and lows report, I'm Dave Akin. Back to you.
With the warmer weather coming, it's making for a better-looking spring break for all of you Marist students. For those of you who are planning on heading to Florida, you may want to look up this local resident. If you've been complaining about, Martinez of Delray Beach, Florida, owns 1,000 clocks. He's been collecting them for 15 years. The 81-year-old says they make him happy. He doesn't set them all when the time changes, just the big ones. Martinez says it will take him an entire week to that. He says he wants just enough clocks to be right time so he knows that the time no matter where he looks.
1,000 clocks.
Wow.
He'll never forget what time it is.
Exactly.
Except when he doesn't
always
change
has it at his feet.
half of them.
Exactly.
I don't know what I would do with that many clocks.
It's craziness.
That's insane. Well, in other news, we would like to take this time to say happy birthday, Barbie. The world's most popular doll was 54 years old this past Saturday. Created by Ruth Handler, Barbie made her first appearance on March 9th, 1959. Since then, the doll has represented more than 40 nationalities. She's had more than 130 careers, and Barbie has worked with 75 different fashion designers. Barbie's maker, Mattel, says there's a Barbie doll sold somewhere in the world every 3 seconds.
Speaking of female icons, last October the world first heard 15-year-old Malala Yousafzai's name when she was shot by Taliban militants for speaking out on her belief that all girls should be educated. Today her father calls her, quote, the daughter of the whole world. Malala and her father have always believed in universal education for women. When she was just 11, she began keeping a blog to spread her ideas. And when she was injured by the Taliban, the Pakistani people took to the streets to protest. As Malala grows as an icon of education, she continues to get healthier each day and plans on contributing to advocate her beliefs. She is now the subject of a new documentary, Girl Rising, and her 16th birthday will be known as Malala Day in Pakistan. Malala's message has spread to the United Nations, where the envoy on global education has been strongly pushing Pakistan towards making bigger steps towards allowing girls to have quality educations. However, Malala's fight is not over. It is unlikely that she will ever be able to return to Pakistan due to safety concerns, and some believe that it might be too late for Pakistan to make any real changes in their education system. Wow, that's a pretty intense story.
I think this girl really deserves the holiday.
I think so too. This is a very important holiday to her.
It is. It's unfortunate what happened, but I'm glad that something is being done about it.
Definitely.
Well, from Iraq tonight, we are getting striking reports of the strains of poverty on some residents. Iraq's leaders hope the country's oil wealth can provide a decent living to its citizens after years of conflict and chaos. But for those living in Baghdad's Sadir city, the dream of a better life is buried under piles of trash. Men, women, and children pushed by poverty spend their days scouring the dumps looking for things to sell. Arwa Damon reports.
Muntaha is perhaps the smallest of the children here. Crawling through filth and mountains of garbage, gathering bottles, cans, anything she can sell. Scavenging is her family's only source of income. And scouring rotten garbage will pay just $4 to $8 a day. We wanted to speak to her, but her older brother said she had to keep working. And we were forced to film from outside the dump. Local officials refused to allow us access inside, telling us, "We don't want you filming images of children picking up trash." 12-year-old Sajid's father is ill and can't work. His mother cares for his 3 younger sisters. Of course he'd like to go to school, he says, but there's no one but him to put money on the table. This is the Shia slum of Sadr City, among the poorest neighborhoods in the capital. Elsewhere, development in Baghdad is visible, from small businesses that have given themselves a facelift, to new malls like this one, glistening amid scruffy surroundings. Officially, the government claims unemployment has dropped from 18% in 2008 to 11% last year, but it varies wildly from province to province. In oil-rich Kirkuk, for example, it's at 2.5%, but in the largely Sunni desert province of Anbar, it's 18%. And much of the capital is still a mess. Look hard enough and you will find street repairs and other government-funded small projects, but basic services are still in shambles. Across Baghdad, power cables from generators weave massive cobwebs across streets, up and down buildings. Households still only receive between 2 and 6 hours of city power a day. Much of Iraq's oil wealth is lost to corruption and mismanagement, despite the steady increase in production. According to the United Nations Children Fund, around 23% of the population still lives below the poverty line. We met Karim Hassan among the families who live at the dump. His 10-year-old daughter died shortly after the family moved here 9 years ago. He says doctors told him it was from a bacteria she picked up. He takes us into the crude structure his family lives in. Inside, his wife, Aide, shows us her 2-month-old grandson. I am so worried about his health, she tells us, because of the waste. But what can I do? If I could leave, I would. I wouldn't live in filth. She says some kind people nearby help them wire electricity to run a heater to keep the baby warm in the winter chill and rain.
She's showing us how if you just lift up one of these bricks, you can see the water underneath it. So they've had to put bricks all over the entire floor. And then they're sleeping on top of the bricks themselves.
Iraq's dictator may be long gone, its oil industry revived. But on the garbage dumps of Sadr City, progress is hard to find.
In much later news, new research suggests that there may be a clear sign our economy is picking up as well. Wedding site TheKnot.com says brides and grooms spent more money to get married last year than they have since the start of the economic downturn. The site says the average wedding bill was $28,427. It surveyed more than 17,000 couples to get its results. The site says spending increased in almost every category, from photographers and DJs to invitations. Couples in Manhattan spent the most, averaging nearly $77,000, and Alaskans were the most frugal. They spent an average of just over $15,000.
In other national news, New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg recently proposed a ban on sugar-laced drinks larger than 16 ounces to help stop obesity. This has drawn national attention. Polls are showing up to a 60% disapproval rate, including people that don't live in the Big Apple. This sugar drink ban applies to restaurants, fast food chains like McDonald's and Burger King, movie and stage theaters, delis, and office cafeterias. However, it doesn't affect convenience stores, drugstores, and supermarkets, so you can still purchase an oversized sugary drink at those places. The ban also does not apply to diet sodas, fruit drinks, or coffees containing less than 5 packets of sugar. Sellers of the big drinks will have a 3-month grace period starting Monday to get used to the law. City officials have said they plan to start enforcing the ban immediately and at least handing out warnings to violators. After the grace period ends, offenders could face up to a $200 fine. The good news is there will be no fine for anyone buying the banned drinks, at least not yet. However, as of Monday, this ban has drawn attention from the state Supreme Court and the ban was halted. Mayor Bloomberg's next step is to appeal the decision.
Even though you won't be able to get your extra large soda at the theaters anymore, that doesn't mean you shouldn't go. And speaking of the cinema, moviegoers were off to see The Wizard this weekend. While Justin Timberlake made some magic of his own on Saturday Night Live, Christina Muchler reports.
Oz the Great and Powerful lived up to its name at the box office this weekend. Disney's new take on the story of Oz conjured up $80.3 million in ticket sales. That's the best debut of the year so far, and the 3rd largest March opening in history. In its second week in theaters, Jack the Giant Slayer picked up another $10.2 million. And still in the top 3 after more than a month in theaters, Identity Thief grossed $6.3 million. Justin Timberlake brought viewers back to Saturday Night Live. His appearance as host and musical guest gave the show its highest ratings in more than a year. It was his 5th time hosting, landing him in the exclusive 5-Timers Club. It's a group that includes Alec Baldwin, Tom Hanks, Steve Martin, and Chevy Chase, who all made cameos in a star-studded opening monologue.
Oh my God, I just realized I'm standing next to the 3 amigos.
The episode drew more than 7 million viewers, according to preliminary estimates from Nielsen. Kidney stones sent Motley Crue lead singer Vince Neil into surgery. The band was forced to cut short a show in Australia Sunday night. On Twitter, guitarist Mick Mars said Neil went straight from the stage to the hospital. Neil's manager said he'd been having problems with kidney stones for the last few days. For Hollywood Minute, I'm Christina Muchler.
More news comes from the city this week as we stick with local stories. This past Saturday, a police officer shot a man in the torso as the man tried to flee a traffic stop on Staten Island. After receiving information that the man was armed, 2 detectives and a police officer from the Staten Island Gang Squad attempted to stop the white Toyota Camry near Manor Road and North Gannon Avenue. While attempting to escape, the driver pinned one of the detectives against another vehicle. When it appeared he was reaching for a weapon, the officer shot him in his chest. The man sped away, crashing into several vehicles before eventually colliding with a utility pole. He was taken to Richmond University Medical Center, where he was listed in stable condition. The officer said the driver had quite the arrest record, and a .44 caliber revolver was found in his car. What a tragedy.
I know. People these days just don't
terrible.
believe it. Yeah, very sad. A young boy had a better turnout that man this past weekend. A 12-year-old boy says he thought he was going to die before being saved from treacherous surf at a popular tourist spot. Josh McCoy has spoken after rescuers formed a human chain to pluck him from the water at Napper's Marine Parade Beach. Simon Bradwell has the report.
Rescuers raced towards pounding surf. Lost in that white water is 12-year-old Josh McCoy, seconds away from drowning.
When I was in there, I thought I was going to die.
He'd been playing at the water's edge with a mate when a wave caught them and dragged Josh under.
The waves smashed me so much, then there were 5 really big ones. They flipped me around quite a few times. And I think I was in the water for the longest I was in for about 20 seconds.
Dragged 150 metres along the beach, fighting for air for 8 long minutes.
Been like in a washing machine, you know, just boom, boom, boom.
The alarm raised by Josh's friend, Constable Paul Bailey, diving into the waves.
I lost grip about 3 times of Josh and was just panicking and frantic to get it back, and a few times under the waves I was thinking to myself, well, have I done the right thing charging in here? Is there going to be 2 bodies they're looking for?
His colleague thinking fast to prevent the unfolding double tragedy.
I could see other people up on the shoreline and I just started yelling out to them, come down and help us, come down and help us. And as they got close I said, grab hold of each other, form a chain.
And that human chain pulled Josh and his rescuers to safety.
I'd love to thank them so much for what they did. They saved my life. If it wasn't for them, I'd be dead.
Josh revived by members of the public, taken to Napier Hospital and having an unscheduled day off school. Josh is one of the lucky ones. 11 people have drowned off our beaches this summer alone. And last year, one person drowned in a rescue attempt. Josh and his dad back at the scene, this time at a safe distance, and urging all beachgoers to learn from their brush with tragedy.
Our last story for you tonight is about a shocking study that may help save many lives. Aspirin has been recommended for years as a good way to cut down on heart attack risks. But studies have shown the little pill may indeed help with other health issues. Now researchers are finding it could lower a woman's risk of developing a dangerous type of skin cancer. Here's Elizabeth Corridon with today's Health Minute.
Melanoma is the deadliest form of skin cancer. According to the American Cancer Society, nearly 9,000 people die of the disease every year. Now a new study out of Stanford University School of Medicine finds that women who took aspirin on a regular basis reduced their risk of developing melanoma by 21%. Researchers also found that the longer a woman used aspirin, the lower her risks.
Individuals who take aspirin on a regular basis and not too much, 2 to 3 pills a week, have a reduced risk of malignant melanoma based upon these data.
The study, published in this week's online journal Cancer, was based on data taken from the famous ongoing Women's Health Initiative study. That U.S. initiative looks at postmenopausal women ages 50 to 79. This particular study focused on 60,000 Caucasian women. These women were selected because of their light skin, which is a major risk factor for developing melanoma. When it came to long-term use of aspirin, investigators discovered over time there was an 11% risk reduction after 1 year of use, a 22% risk reduction between 1 and 4 years of use, and as much as a 30% risk reduction at 5 years and more. The authors of the study say the findings are significant because aspirin is known to have other protective effects in women. For today's Health Minute, I'm Elizabeth Corridon.
Well, that's all we have for you tonight. Until next time, I'm Jess Smith.
And I'm Peter Malavenda. Thanks for stopping by.